for joining us on the 6:30 p.m. newscast this Wednesday, the 21st of January, 2026. As usual, we begin with our top stories. Cameroon's missionary of state has entered an uneasy pause, not because government has fallen, but because power has been left waiting. President Paul Biya's end-of-year announcement of an impending cabinet reshuffle intended as a signal of renewal has instead frozen decision-making across ministries, plaguing governance into a limbo where authority exists but confidence does not. Tonight, we take a look at the fear that has gripped Cameroonian ministers and senior state officials. And also coming up in these editions, preparations ahead of the 31st edition of the Mount Cameroon Race of Hope have officially been launched in the southwest region by Governor Bernard Okala Bilai. This was yesterday as he chaired the first preparatory session of the local organizing committee in Boya. The 31st Mount Cameroon Race of Hope will hold on Saturday, February 21, 2026. The developments of these and more will make up tonight's package of the 6:30 p.m. newscast. Stay with us for the developments of these and more. And thanks once again for joining us on tonight's rendezvous of information. We begin right here in Yaoundé, where determined to ease traffic congestion and give Yaoundé a modern urban outlook, the Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Celestine Kecha-Cortez, has taken stock of ongoing road projects across the capital. Through a field inspection carried out on January 20th, that was yesterday, the Mindu bus moved from one construction site to another, assessing progress and identifying bottlenecks and setting the tone for faster and more efficient executions of the projects in Yaoundé. We have details of these stories with Micheline Bilowa.
From evaluation to action, the inspection tour of the Minister of Housing and Urban Development sent a clear message to contractors handling Yaoundé's urban road projects. The objective was threefold: assess the level of execution of works, identify operational constraints slowing down projects, and prescribe strategic and technical measures to accelerate delivery. Accompanied by administrative authorities and technical teams, Celestine Kecha-Cortez visited several road sections currently under rehabilitation and construction. On site, the minister insisted on strict respect for deadlines and quality standards, stressing that delays will no longer be tolerated.
I'm very happy on what I've seen, despite the fact that there's this reason of SEDEC, there's the problem of payment. I've seen that many companies have, they are about to complete their work, and I call them to multiply the team and make sure that at the end of January, 31st of January, when we will be visiting the project which has been completed, we will also find that this project that has been inspected are completed. And all these programs should come to make Yaoundé more mobility with the project that you know, PDV, who has transformed Kolmesen and Kwabang, and the project PVGFD that I have launched yesterday with the World Bank will show that the head of state is doing what he promised, and Yaoundé also will be modernized sustainably, and the road will be well made in our city capital.
Along the mobile omnisports axis, works were observed to be progressing at a satisfactory pace, a situation welcomed by residents who see the project as a major relief to daily traffic difficulties. Beyond timelines, the Minju bus also addressed issues related to coordination, equipment mobilization, and site organization, urging companies to overcome constraints and deliver results in line with government expectations. This field visit once again reflects the government commitment to improving urban mobility and offering a better living environment to the people of Yaoundé. Through sustained monitoring and firm guidance, the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development intends to ensure that modern, durable road infrastructure becomes a reality for the political capital.
As we told you in our top story, since President Paul Biya announced the formation of a new government in his end-of-year address, anticipation has gripped the nation. But beyond public speculation, the delay in naming a new cabinet has created a climate of uncertainty within government itself, one that is increasingly affecting decision-making, slowing state actions and breeding quite fear among ministers unsure of their political fate. President Paul Biya's announcement of the formation of a new government made during his end-of-year address has since cast a long shadow over the functioning of the current administration. While the declaration was meant to signal renewal and fresh momentum, its delayed execution is now producing unintended consequences within the corridors of power. Across ministries, the atmosphere is one of quiet anxiety. Ministers and senior officials are operating under uncertainty, unsure whether they will retain their portfolios or be replaced. This climate of fear has inevitably bred caution. Decision-making has slowed, bold initiatives are being postponed, and long-term policy actions are quietly shelved. No one wants to take responsibility for their decisions that could outlive their tenure, or worse, attract scrutiny from a successor. In effect, governance has slipped into a waiting mode. Cabinet members appear reluctant to commit to major reforms, sign strategic contracts, or push through controversial measures, preferring instead to manage rather than act. The result is an administration that is technically in place but psychologically suspended. This hesitation comes at a time when Cameroon faces pressing challenges, economic pressures, social demands, security concerns, and public service delivery gaps. A government operating on uncertainty is ill-equipped to respond decisively to such issues. Citizens, meanwhile, pay the price through delays, inefficiency, and policy paralysis. While cabinet reshuffles are a normal tool of political management, prolonged suspense weakens state effectiveness. Authority thrives on clarity, not speculation. If renewal is the objective, then timeliness becomes essential. Otherwise, the announcement of change risks becoming a brake rather than a catalyst for action. Ultimately, leadership is not only about signaling intent, but about executing decisions swiftly enough to keep the machinery of the state running at full speed. Until clarity is restored, Cameroon's governance will likely continue to operate below its potential. More than 100 young Cameroonians across the country have gained practical entrepreneurship skills through a capacity-building program aimed at strengthening youth-led businesses and private sector growth. This was the initiative of the Africa Vice President of the International Finance Corporation. We have details of this report with Benjamin Afanui.
Young entrepreneurs, small business owners, and inventors from across Cameroon has gained skills in entrepreneurial management, finance access, and business sustainability. This was led by the Vice President of the International Finance Corporation, Ethiopia's Tafara, during his strategic visit to Cameroon. On January 19, Tafara led training sessions with young entrepreneurs in Douala, Cameroon's economic capital. The session, which was focused on business sustainability, had far-reaching positive impact as participants received practical guidance on investment and market expansion. Tafara's visit also highlights IFFC's expanding engagement in Cameroon, where it continues to support private sector development through training programs and financial initiatives. As Cameroon looks to harness the energy of its youth, engagement like this signals a high pathway to economic transformation.
You're watching the 6:30 p.m. news live from Yaoundé. We now take you to Bamenda, where following their dedication, commitment, and hard work to the police corps, some 13 police officers serving in the Bamenda Central Police Stations have received letters of congratulations from their immediate bosses for a job well done. We have details of that in the following report. 13 police officers serving at the Bamenda Central Police Station have officially been congratulated by their immediate hierarchy in recognition of their dedication, professionalism and selfless service in maintaining law and order in the city. The officers received letters of congratulation as a mark of encouragement following their recent promotion to various ranks by the state. The gesture, authorities say, is intended to motivate the officers to remain committed to duty, discipline and respect for the values of the police profession. During the ceremony, senior police officers praised the recipients for their resilience and sense of responsibility, particularly in a challenging security environment where maintaining public safety requires courage, patience and sacrifice. They noted that the promotions were not only a reward for years of service, but also a reflection of merit, integrity and professionalism demonstrated in line of duty.
Of success, and I'm happy. I would like to encourage them. Those who today are promoted, I would like to invite other policemen to do the same, to be like those for today and more than them tomorrow.
The hierarchy further urged the newly promoted officers to see their new ranks as a call to greater responsibility, leadership and service to the population. They were reminded that public trust in the police is built through exemplary conduct, respect for human rights and a continued commitment to peace and security.
Mission is to secure the population and their properties. We are not fighting against terrorism, is not our main task. But when you succeed in that particular domain, it's normal for the hierarchy to recognize what you did and to encourage you.
For the beneficiaries, the recognition was received with gratitude and pride. Many described the letters of congratulation as a moral booster and a motivation to work even harder in serving their nation. The event ended on a note of encouragement, with officials reaffirming the police force's commitment to professionalism and effective policing in Bamenda and beyond. To Douala now. Cameroon, through the Ministry of Public Works, has strengthened cooperation with the World Bank to accelerate rehabilitation of the Douala-Yaoundé-Bonis Highway, a strategic link of the Douala-Bangui corridor. The project could receive up to $350 million in funding to boost economic growth and regional integration. Jackie Nyebele tells us more.
The Cameroonian government, through the Ministry of Public Works, has reaffirmed its commitment to accelerating the preparation of the reconstruction project for the Douala-Yaoundé-Bonis Highway, a key segment of the Douala-Bangui corridor, with the support of the World Bank, one of the technical and financial partners that has expressed interest in accompanying Cameroon. It was within this framework that the Minister of Public Works, Emmanuel Ganoujoumessi, on January 20, 2026, granted a consultative audience to a World Bank delegation led by Franz Dress-Gross, Regional Director for Infrastructure. Discussions focused on projects identification and the mobilization of the resource required for the rehabilitation of this strategic axis, which is vital to the national economy and regional integration. The World Bank expressed its intention to contribute approximately $350 million, equivalent to nearly 210 billion CFA francs, highlighting the strategic role of the Ministry of Public Works within its portfolio in Cameroon. This announcement follows the identification meetings carried out from January 12 to 16, 2026, involving teams from the MINTEPE and other relevant sectoral administrations. The mission included consultations with administrative authorities from the littoral and central regions, decentralized local authorities, and sector partners, as well as a field visit to the Douala-Yaoundé section of National Road 3. This visit was made possible to assess the constraints and needs related to the rehabilitation of the infrastructure. Discussions also covered the main technical options of the project, notably the widening of the Douala-Idea section, the construction of a second bridge over the Dibamba River, and the development of bypass roads around Douala and Yaoundé, among other components.
In news out of Cameroon, the Ivorian government will buy unsold cocoa stocks to stabilize prices and protect farmers' incomes in that country. And on to something else. flooded roads are still blocking access to affected areas, making the return of displaced persons and delivery difficult in Mozambique. We have a compilation of the foreign news roundup with Micheline Biloa.
In Ivory Coast, the government has announced plans to purchase unsold cocoa stocks to stabilize the market and protect farmers' incomes. The move comes amid falling prices and logistical difficulties affecting exports. Authorities say the measure aims to prevent losses for producers and ensure price stability in the world's leading cocoa producing country as discussions continue with exporters and cooperatives. In Senegal, the Lions of Teranga have been officially received at the Presidential Palace following their successful AUCUN 2025 campaign. President Bassirou Diomaye Faye praised the team for boosting national pride and unity, hailing their discipline and fighting spirits. Players and coaching staff were honored during a symbolic ceremony as the country continues to celebrate its footballing achievements ahead of future international competitions. In Mozambique, the return of displaced families remains difficult as several major roads are still submerged after weeks of heavy flooding. Relief agencies report that access to affected areas is limited during the delivery of food, medical aid, and clean water. Authorities say thousands of people are still living in temporary shelters, while damage assessment continues in flood-hit provinces. The government has appealed for international assistance as recovery efforts face logistical and financial challenges.
Now in sports, preparations for the 31st edition of the Mount Cameroon Race of Hope has been launched in Boya, southwest region of Cameroon. The launching ceremony took place yesterday under the watchful eyes of the governor of the southwest region, Bernard Okala-Bilai, who chaired the first meeting of the local organizing committee. The 31st Mount Cameroon Race of Hope is expected to take place on Saturday, the 21st of February 2026, as you hear in the following report. The governor of the southwest region, Bernard Okala-Bilai, has chaired the first preparatory working session of the local organizing committee for the 31st edition of the Mount Cameroon Race of Hope. The meeting held on Tuesday, January 20, 2026. Presiding in his capacity as chairperson of the local organizing committee, Governor Bernard Okala-Bilai brought together members of the 14 technical and administrative committees charged with the organization of the annual international sporting event.
We have started preparing for the 31st edition of the Mount Cameroon Race of Hope. We started by selecting the dates of the race, which is stipulated for the 21st of February 2026. After having the dates, the Federation came in as a family to select the athletes who will be running for the main race itself. So we have done test races in 8 regions so far. And Saturday, the 24th of January, will be the last 2 regions that will be competing for the test race for this year.
During the session, the chief administrator of the region urged committee members to demonstrate total commitment, professionalism and collaboration to ensure the success of the race. He emphasized that the Mount Cameroon Race of Hope remains a flagship sporting event for the southwest region and Cameroon at large, attracting athletes, tourists and media attention from across the world. Governor Bernard Okala-Bilai reminded participants that the event's reputation built over the years must be preserved by maintaining high organizational standards, security, logistics, medical coverage, and hospitality. As part of the roadmap towards the competition, a test race has been scheduled for January 24, 2026, aimed at assessing preparedness on the field. The final race is slated for February 21, 2026 in Boya, at the foot of Mount Cameroon. The 31st Mount Cameroon Race of Hope is expected to once again bring together elite athletes and spectators in a celebration of endurance, unity, and sporting excellence. We're back in Yaoundé, where Cameroon's Paralympic movement is consolidating its gains and setting new ambitions for the future. This was the focus of the General Assembly of the National Paralympic Committee of Cameroon, a strategic devoted to reviewing activities of the past year and defining priorities for the year 2026. Details with Micheline Biloa.
The General Assembly provided an opportunity for the National Paralympic Committee of Cameroon to assess activities carried out over the past year, highlighting progress in athlete preparation, participation in competitions, and organizational consolidation. A key moment of the meeting was the presentation of para-athletes who distinguished themselves nationally and internationally, winning a total of 37 medals for Cameroon. Beyond the review, participants adopted an action plan for 2026, focused on improving training frameworks, athlete support, and the promotion of Paralympic sport across the country. The Assembly also marked a major milestone with the official installation of members of the National Paralympic Academy, a structure expected to reinforce technical capacity and long-term athlete development.
We have very good deliberations. All the documents that were presented to the members have been adopted, mainly the progress report, the action plan, and the financial report. So we are satisfied with it. So we can now start the work for the new year and then the new Paralympic period in a serene manner. And we also have done, achieved something important. We have installed new members of the National Paralympic Academy, the director and the board chairman. And also we have officially installed the National Council of Athletes, Para-Athletes and Diet.
Through this strategic gathering, the National Paralympic Committee reaffirmed its commitment to excellence, inclusion and sustainability, positioning Paralympic sport as a key pillar of Cameroon.
Thank you for watching the 6:30 p.m. news on B News. Fabiola Chama will be here at 7:30 p.m. for the news in the French language. From the entire team in Yaoundé, I am Fabrice Kedinga. God bless Cameroon. Good night.